everyone. Welcome to Taste Different Gaming Appetizers. What are we talking about this time? Well, Nintendo says you should play more digital games. So Nintendo had a direct, and they announced a virtual game card system that lets you play downloaded titles on different consoles. So as a surprised bit of software news, the company just announced something called a virtual game card, which is a way to make playing and sharing downloaded titles more convenient. As the name suggests, this system creates a digital simulacrum. How do you say that?
Simulacrum
of a physical game card. I don't know. I was going to venture. I wasn't going to get it. That's why I asked. This means that multi-Switch households will easily be able to start a game on one console and transfer it to another without any real hassle. So it's kind of like a cross save in a sense. Nintendo says they want to make digital games as easy to use as physical game cards. Starting something on the regular Switch before moving over to the OLED model is a nice feature. Nintendo says that it's going to lead us out of the digital games, which is, so basically they're pretty much saying, buy digital is a more of a way to, all companies pretty much are, we've talked about this before, they're all going to go towards digital ownership, and Nintendo wants to as well, right? So they all want to get out of that physical realm and go into pure digital. So this is just basically another way for Nintendo to, kind of push people towards that digital portion of it. Now, there are some caveats. You can only loan games up to 8 people on the same Nintendo family account. So it's really for families and tight-knit groups of friends. Also, the system has to be able to connect locally via the same wireless network. So you can't loan out a game to someone on the other side of the country. So they have to live with you, or they have to live with you. And you can only lend out one game at a time, and it lasts for 2 weeks. This will be available at the end of April. And it is coming to the Switch 2, this functionality. So some caveats with it. It would be better if I had like a digital game, like Metroid Dread, that Patrick wants to play. And I have the physical game for it, but let's say I had a digital version and I could say, hey, Pat, let's all go into the family group together, and then you can borrow this digital game of mine and you can play it. That would be a lot better. I would prefer something like that, right? Because then we could get in a family plan together, all of us, and then we could, kind of like we do with Xbox Game Share, where, one of us, that one's only 2 people, but it'd be awesome if they broaden that, because then, we could cycle out buying games digitally and then play them at our leisure, right? Without having to each buy a copy of them. So that would be nice. So it's not quite that you have to live in the same household. So I guess if you're in a household with multiple Switch users, then you would only have to buy one copy of a game digitally, that if multiple people want to play that, and they all have their own Switches with their own accounts, and then you could just loan it out to them. It's weird that you can only lend one game out and it lasts for 2 weeks. That seems odd. After that 2 weeks, can you lend that one back out again? I would imagine you could, right? I'm surprised there's a limit on that, right? I mean, sure, I guess there could be a limit on one game, but like maybe the 2 week time frame is just to make sure that you get it back so you can loan something else out, right? So someone doesn't like indefinitely keep it or something like that. I would assume that's the reason, but I don't know. Anyway, we'll go around and see what everybody thinks of this digital sharing doohickey. Pat, what do you think? You look like you're in deep thought.
I don't understand the caveats. If you can share with up to 8 people, but only one game at a time and up to 2 weeks at a time, that seems kind of odd, right? Like let's say I'm a 5-person family household, and I buy all the games digitally on one device, right? And I have 3 kids. I can't loan each of them a game. So it's kind of defeats the purpose a little bit of the digital. It's like in a digital marketplace, I like to consolidate all my stuff into one spot, right? So that means that if I'm playing something and I loaned out something to one of the other kids, then the other two kids can't play anything because I don't buy them each their own digital copy on their console, right? So that seems stupid. What also is kind of weird, which I know why they did it on the same wireless network, so that you can't do what you just said, game share with your friends. It already is kind of convoluted because you have to they have to be on your family account, which means that one person controls the entire account, which is not what friends do, right? Because if I want to, it's not something that the typical friends do. Like we have our own account, and then you share your account with them, and they can buy games, and things like that. It's not like the Steam share your library with friends or family neither, right? So I think there's way too many caveats for it. It sounded cool until we were reading the articles and stuff. I'm like, oh, cool, I can loan out a game or something like that. Because what's going to end up happening is if you have like one kid and they, kids have the attention span of like, I can't tell you what, like 5 minutes long, they got a 10-second thread going on around there. They're going to be like, can I borrow this game? And they're going to play it for like 15 minutes. And while you're trying to play something else, they're going to come back in 15 more minutes. But I can't return that one. Can you lend me another one? And you're just going to go on like that for freaking ever. I think there's too many caveats for me anyway, because we're not on a Nintendo family plan. And I don't feel like losing my account and jumping over onto a family plan with everybody else, because then that means you lose all the stuff that you've already digitally acquired, right? Unless I sign into that other account. I mean, I guess that's what you could do. We could start a family account and then just put all of us on it. And when you want to play one of the borrowed games, but then that means one person would have to stay in the family plan and buy all their games in there. And I don't know. It just seems
we have
weird.
To be all in the same wireless network too.
Well, that's fine. I could go over to your house. It's not like you live far away.
You could.
Right? That's what I'm saying. I could drive by and sit in your driveway and be like, all right, Nick, I got it. I'll see you later.
I'm wondering, like,
if you have to stay connected to that network.
To play it.
Well, it said downloading. It didn't say anything about state. It just said to download.
I wonder if it does like online checks every so often.
Like a DRM or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, and then if you rent out, and I also wondered, I was thinking about it while we were talking, if I rent out, like, or let's say I have a game and I loan it to Shane and I want to play it, can I still play it? Or while it's rented out, in a sense, it's not available to me until that time frame.
I think it's probably like that, where it's actually not available to you because technically you lent out your game card, so your game's not available anymore.
Right, like almost like giving them the physical card.
Yeah.
And here's my take on the whole thing. Besides the fact that Nintendo is also leading towards a digital future, which disgusts me. I hate the fact that everything's going digital. And don't get me wrong, I know Steam is all digital, but I still prefer my console stuff on a card, a disc, whatever. But those are the good questions. So do you have to stay on the network? Does it do the checks? Can you play the same game while your buddy is playing it? Those are all good questions. And this is Nintendo. And I don't like speaking too ill of Nintendo, but Nintendo will do what Nintendo does. They're not going to allow you to play that game. I guarantee it. I mean, I just can't see them doing it. 2, if you have to stay on the network, then what is the point of buying that game digitally? If you have to be on that network, you're going to be in that house all the time. If you're going to be in that house all the time, you already got access to that person's Switch. So why do you need to borrow?
Yeah, but because one person could be playing it and then the other person can play it. Because if you're both playing, if Nick's playing on his Switch and one of his kids wants to play, they're on their Switch. Yes, so that's why you have that.
But you're in the same house. Why not just buy it on a disc?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Then you can just go, here you go.
Yeah, I mean, that's understandable, but at the same time, they're just pitching this as a convenience feature.
No, they're pitching this to get people. They're pitching this to get people used to the fact that you ain't buying shit anymore.
Well, yeah,
you're only going to be able to borrow it by paying for a download. And then when Nintendo, well, they'll never close down, but when like Xbox closes shop,
They don't
Yeah,
got
all
to
your
try very
shit's
hard
gone.
because
No.
convenience is what wins out. I mean,
Yeah.
convenience will always win, and this is a convenience, and they don't got to try very hard. Everybody knows what
No.
they're doing. They want to eliminate carts.
Yes, they want to eliminate you having the ability to purchase things used is what they want. Not that Nintendo games really are ever much of a discount used anyways. Their shit's always expensive. But
Which is kind of interesting that they did this in the first place, right? Because they are always a money hungry company, and they're like, and this seems kind of odd, especially for a company that never puts a game on sale or anything, right?
Exactly. It's they're going to take, just like Microsoft did with Game Pass. Oh my God, this is amazing offer.
So-
what a great deal. And then when you get happy and you're used to it and everything you're buying is digital and it's all on Game Pass, they pull the rug out from under you. They rape up the prices. They screw up the program,
So
and then they leave you on the side of the road.
according to this,
What they're gonna do.
the local connection is only going to be required for loading and ejecting the digital game. That's it. And once you've done that and the game's downloaded on the console, anybody that has access to that console can play it.
I bet that changes. I'll guarantee that changes.
I don't think so.
I guarantee it will.
So yeah, you could be like a part of the family. In that case, you could be in a family plan. Come over to one of your friends' house, download it, and then leave.
Go home. Yeah.
I think they'll fix that
or what we
immediately
can do-
just for that situation.
You would
we
have to
can
go
do-
back over there to unload it, though.
That's what
to
it
give
sounds
back?
like. Yes, because to release the digital, because it said to eject it, you have to be on the same network.
So what happens after 2 weeks, though? Like, does it just become unavailable to you?
Probably
and-
unavailable to
Probably
both until you
to
go back
both?
to yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, essentially, we'll just create a VPN between all our houses and we'll call it good because then we'll all be on the same local network, right?
And that's why that's another reason I think they're going to pull their bullshit. I love Nintendo. They don't do that kind of stuff for their people. I don't believe they're going to allow that kind of stuff to work easily. I just don't. I mean, I still can't buy Kirby Dream Land for under $45. Nintendo doesn't. They just don't.
So it
do
says
those
here
kind of
after
things.
2 weeks, after 2 weeks, you can manually renew the loan. So I think you just have to be, because I'm assuming the way it sounds, to load and eject a card, if you're not on the network, it just becomes unavailable until the machines are on the same local network. So I mean, and that's just weird. Like, so your family plan can have up to 8 people, but yet you can only share out one at a time between 2 devices. Because like for me, if I had this, for me, this is not, I mean, to me, this might be a little bit of a problem because there's 3 Switch players in the house, but there's only one. But maybe something like this may get me to keep the Switch 1. And when I get a Switch 2, then I could be like, hey, here you go. And I'll loan out a game to the kid and a game to the girlfriend. But I can't. So it's one at a time. So it's really weird because I would like to consolidate all my games into my device or my account.
Yeah. But
this is kind of confusing. So if I buy a game, am I attaching it to a specific? I have to be attaching it to a specific user on the family plan, I guess. So that does, because what it needs to be, this is how it needs to be, in my opinion. You buy a game and it's attached to the family account, and anybody on the family account should be able to check it out, right, on their device. That's how it should be, in my opinion. That way, it would be a true system. I know why they don't do it, right? Because we could create a family plan between the 3 of us and all our kids. And then would we still have room? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Not quite enough. There's quite too many of us to be able to share it with the kids and the girlfriends that play, right? You know,
no,
we'll take
mine. We'll take mine out.
Well, it's still not. There's more than 9. There's more than 8 of us with all the kids included. So,
I meant with the bat.
But like, so you could just have that one account and everybody buys games under that one account and adds it to the family library account, right? And then you just say, oh, I'm going to check it out because they're done with it. And then somebody else is checking out different games that are in the family account. But it doesn't work that way. They're assigned to specific users in the family plan. So if I wanted to control all of them and buy them all under my account, because I'm the only one that buys games, I can only loan it out to either my kid or girlfriend one game at a time. That's it. So the other one can't play anything. To me, this is a flawed system, but it's better than what we had before, which was jack shit. So You know,
I guess it's better than nothing. But yeah, your idea would make more sense from a consumer's perspective or for customers, right? Is like you have an umbrella account, which is the a family, right? That everybody falls under, and then you just buy products for that main account, and then everybody can just pull games and stuff out of it, which would make more sense, right? And that would be a much better system, right? What they're wanting to do.
But I could see why they don't want to do that, right? Because then we just get us and 5 more friends, and instead of Nintendo getting money for 8 purchases, they're only getting money for 1 purchase because one person is going to purchase it, and all 8 of us are eventually going to get to play it without having purchased our own copies. So I can understand why they're doing it, but at the same time, I don't like it. Same thing,
I don't like where all this is going to lead. That's one of my biggest problems. Our biggest problem with PlayStation is they control their games. Everything that goes onto their platform is controlled
Nintendo,
by
right?
PlayStation.
I don't think you can buy digital codes for Nintendo's marketplace, right?
You used to. I don't know if you can anymore, though. But you did used to. I can't remember. Last time I did buy a code and crap. But I don't like where it's going. I don't like the digital future only. I don't like that option being taken away. I don't like the fact that once it is set and it's all digital only, they're going to control. You still can?
You can buy stuff outside the eShop from like Best Buy and all that stuff. So
you can. They're going to end up with the control of everything. They'll probably take that away once it's all digital. I don't see it. Well,
they would probably get a lawsuit.
Nintendo isn't as bad as PlayStation.
They would probably get a lawsuit. But PlayStation's always been that way. Like Nintendo, after Nintendo going completely digital and then doing it, that would probably bring in some antitrust stuff. Because, I mean, I
don't think PlayStation was always that way.
They've been that way for as long as I can remember.
I really don't. I mean, I can't. I mean, it's been so long. But
at the same time, Nintendo Switch PlayStation is already this way, and they're not digital only. Now, if Switch goes completely digital and then pulls out the retailers, that's a problem because then that shows an anti-compete, right?
Yeah, but what does it matter? I mean, if Sony does it and they're purely anti-competition, I mean, 100%.
You have to prove
nobody
intent
can deny
at that
that
point. But I mean, it's not.
It is intent. I mean, it's
you can't prove it.
Their intent.
You have to prove it because Sony has been doing this forever, and right now you cannot buy. You can buy games other places. You can buy a physical game not from Sony.
That is painfully true. But
yes, but once they go all digital, that's a different story. And then we have to find out if there's some type of competition thing going on, because now you can only buy PS games through the PlayStation Store because you can't buy physical anymore. Is that going to open up the marketplace? Do they have to do some type of marketplace open up? Because now they control right now. If I make a game, let's say we make a game where the 3 old guys game studio or whatever, and we make a game and we want to put it on PlayStation. We want to maybe self-publish, or not publish, but we want to self-distribute, or we can sell it at Walmart, we can sell it at Best Buy, we can sell it at GameStop. They all get their cut, whatever it may be, and then Sony gets their cut. Once physical media goes out the window, Walmart can't get their cut, Best Buy can't get their cut, GameStop can't get their cut. Sony gets every cut because it's only sold in their storefront. So that there is an anti-competitive clause right there if I ever heard of it. Because now I have to buy every game, even stuff that wasn't purchased through me, through their ecosystem. That to me seems like a problem. But when you think about it, Android and Apple do it today, right? With the Play Store and with the iTunes or whatever. I don't know what Google Play or what. I don't know what Apple's is. I don't think it's iTunes.
In their defense, phone games are garbage, and it doesn't matter to me.
But it's everything. Everything you want, applications and all that have to go through that ecosystem, that storefront.
Yeah, it's just like subscription services for movies. You can only watch this movie here. I get that, but I just don't. I don't know. I don't want to see Nintendo go the PlayStation route. I just don't. I want them to. And it's probably because I'm just old as shit. I grew up putting a cartridge in. I grew up piece of shit. Come on, work. work Excite Bike.
Now you don't have to do that with the carts that they have now.
No, now I got to do it with the air cart. I'm pretty sure I hit it. I just don't like where the industry is going. And I think that's probably my biggest problem with the whole story of this.
Yep.
I love the idea of being able to share a game with you guys. And is it an inconvenience if I have to drive to your house to loan it to you? And that's the thing. Can I go to your house, loan it to you on your internet? It's already downloaded on mine. Can I go to your house? Because it's a portable device. Can I use your...
Technically, it's like a cartridge. If you go into the management screen, you have a cartridge for every game. And technically, when I loan you the game, it moves out of my cart manager and into yours. And it's grayed out in my cart manager. That's the screenshot they were showing. So it's grayed out, and now it shows available on yours. So I can't play it until it's checked back in on my device.
Yeah. And I was looking at Nintendo's website about this too. So you can loan multiple games out, or not multiple games. I'm sorry. You can loan out to multiple accounts in your family. You can only load one game per account. So they show an example of that, of the main Switch loaning a game to 3 different people. One person's Zelda, the second person's another game, and the last one's like Splatoon. So the person lended out 3 games. So you can only lend out one game per account for 14 days, unless the borrower returns it early.
I don't know. I want to say that's not too bad, but I still don't like
their wording is horrible then, because on their website, it actually specifically says that you are freely load and arrange games you play on only up to 2 systems, emphasis added, which means sharing of only between 2 systems at a given time is what that says to me. Not like I could share a game here and a game there and a game there and a game there. So if I have 8 games and I want to loan out 3 of them, I can loan out all 3 of them to different games, to different accounts. But that's not what this is saying on this fact.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just keep a damn cartridge.
So here's something that they added. So they add some caveat here that says, Nintendo says virtual game card lending will also be available across your Nintendo Switch family group accounts, but these family loans are limited to 1 game at a time per group member. So the group member is italicized. Okay, so yes, you can do that. So that was just a miswording that was confusing, but yeah, the graphic is better.
Yeah, the graphic shows. I like pictures.
Yeah,
pictures.
Right. Which goes back to then it could be done what we said, but at the same time, there's still essentially only one holder.
You have the
admin
admin account that's buying all the games. Yeah. Right.
Which, I mean, I guess could work, but at the same time, what happens if your admin moves out of state? Right.
I mean, anybody could buy a digital game, really, because even the admin could loan or rent a game from one of the members, right? So technically you wouldn't need just one person owning it all.
Right.
Anybody within the membership could buy a digital game that someone else could loan.
All right.
I'm just wondering, but they don't say this, and I don't think it's the case, but I'm wondering if you have to have just the family account, right? Which you can do by just adding members to your account family group, or do you have to have the Nintendo Online family membership?
It just says family group. It doesn't say.
It doesn't seem like you have to have the online.
So we'll just set up a VPN connection between all 3 of our houses, and we'll call it good.
Subscription.
You know what? I'll just go to your goddamn house, hand you a cartridge, a physical cartridge, and then you can play it for however long. I don't care. I don't want to do this.
I don't mind this because like I said, if you VPN between 3 households, or you want to borrow a game from me, we just open up the VPN tunnel, and we're on the same network. And then I just say you can loan it out to you, and I'll borrow one for you'll loan you one or whatever. And then when you're ready to renew it, if you're like, hey, I'm not done with it, we'll just reconnect the VPN tunnel, renew it, move on. You don't got to drive anywhere.
This as a family thing, it doesn't mean shit to me. My kids don't touch the Switch no more. And about the only time they do is for Mario or Splatoon. I mean, that's about it. So this is definitely an us three thing, not a family thing. But like I said, I just don't like where it's going. It's just pushing Nintendo into an all digital future, and I don't like it. Plain and simple.
It ain't pushing them there. They're just helping it go quicker because it's already going that way. The eShop, I thought I saw an article not too long ago that said that the eShop was quickly outpacing the physical copies or whatever.
Well, I mean, digital is digital, whether you like it or not, is increasing and outpacing, like you were saying, the physical sales. So Nintendo, besides pushing it along, they also technically do need to make this change because, like it or not, things are going digital. And I agree with you, Shane. I'm not a big fan. I'm more of a fan of physical stuff too. But like it or not, things change. The world changes. Stuff changes. And you either get used to it and accept those changes, or you stay in the past where,
everything was better. That's what it was. The past is better.
It may have been, but things are changing, all right? It changes all the time. So either get used to it or get stuck in the mud.
So in 2024, Nintendo digital sales for Nintendo Switch accounted for 53% of all of the sales on the Switch.
That's honestly more than I would have expected for Nintendo because they're, the memory storage size.
But you don't need to download it. It's still just in your physical.
Plus, you can expand it. It only takes an SD card.
Yeah, an SD card expand it. And the SD cards come in massive sizes these days.
And they're cheap compared to
like physical,
compared to like solid state drives
like Sony and Microsoft solution. Yeah. So I mean, this does seem like a more viable solution now that we've kind of chatted through it a little bit. In my opinion, it does. The only thing is the local network, but you can get through that if you know how to create VPN tunnels with, don't VLAN everything out and everything, but everything can kind of seem like it's on the same network,
Well, I'm going to hold my breath until they go back to cartridges.
Well, they won't. But then we're going to see Shane not make it. Unfortunately,
he's starting now.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, it's a trend, right? Everybody is going digital. I'm a big proponent of buying physical over digital, but my Xbox was, before I stopped playing that, was exclusively all digital because I was game sharing. Switch and PlayStation were almost all physical. I did purchase some digital games on both of those when they were games that these guys wanted to play, and I'm like, I have no interest in owning that game, but I'll play on there with them. Or there was some pre-order bonus or whatever that I really wanted that came digital but not physical. So I mean, there's reasons for doing it. And on the Switch, I like just having the physical cart on the Switch. But I don't know.
I think if they're going to force us into an all digital society, we should have the ability to sell our digital items, our digital games. So if I want to sell my Mario Odyssey through, obviously it would have to go through the Nintendo, ecosystem. I should have the option to say, all right, I want to sell this, put it on a freaking eBay site for Nintendo, Weebay, what are you going to call it? And, I should be able to sell it.
That's a pretty interesting concept, but Nintendo would probably never allow that because if I just want to offload the game because I don't want it anymore, I could sell it for $10, and Nintendo has never put anything on sale for that cheap.
But I think that should be a forced option.
If they ever did anything like that, it would be more like Nintendo will buy it back from you for $30, and then they don't do anything.
They're going GameStop money. They ain't doing $30.
They'll give you $30 in-store credit.
Yeah, they'll give you $5 worth of Nintendo coins.
Yeah, Nintendo coins. There you go. Yeah. But yeah, I mean,
it's going to be Meebay, not Weebay.
Meebay. Yeah, not Weebay. Meebay.
I think the only downfall to doing the family plan between the three of us is that if you have others in your household that play on the account, they can't really like my girlfriend plays like Animal Crossing and stuff like that. So
she can buy her own shit,
right? But yeah, because we're on a family group together, the three of us, because I got my kiddo on there as well. But I wouldn't mind doing that. Sounds like a pretty good deal. I don't think I would mind doing that with you guys, but maybe when we get a Switch 2 and if we start buying digital, but I still don't have any plans of buying only digital right now for the Switch.
Yeah.
I like having the cart, even though it's like 99% air in that box and 1%.
I mean, if we were to do that with the Switch 2, like I wouldn't do that with the regular Switch, but the Switch 2, like if we decided we were going to go that route, I would go digital.
Yeah, I would too. And then that way we just buy digitally and be like, hey, I see you got that. Can I borrow it? Are you done with it?
Right. No, I'd rather go that
Because
route.
I still haven't found out. I'm pretty sure the way the screenshots even show it, that if I loan it out, I can't play it, right? Because technically, it's
That's
just
what
like
it looks
physically.
like.
Like when I load it out, it kind of graded out, and it's like not available for me.
It's
to
almost
play.
like giving you the physical, like you said, like giving you the physical
the card.
SD.
Yeah, because they're making a game card and they're like moving the game card from one to another.
I don't know.
But it's good that we learned that you can
multiple,
right? It's one game per account, but you can give, if you have 8 people in there, you can give one to the other, one, whatever. So it's not like just one person, which we initially thought at first. It was like, well, then what's the point of having 8 people if you only give them only one account, one game?
This sounds like game share with Xbox or PlayStation where you only have one buddy at a time.
Right. So this is a little bit better. I mean, we'll just have to see. It's got some pluses, especially if you live in the same household. But if, like Pat said, you could probably set up like VPN or something like that to mask the fact that you're both on the same IP, but still have the same process. I mean, you can still do it with buddies, even if you didn't know how to do that. You just had to go to your buddy's house, get on their network, and then download the game and go home, right? But to avoid having to waste the gas or time, you could just tunnel with a VPN. But I don't know. You guys got anything else you want to add to this?
I don't like it. I'm old. Get off my fucking lawn.
All right. Well, with that, let us know down in the comments below. What do you think? Are you ready to game share? Metroid Prime 4 coming out this year. You could game share that with your buddies. I wish that was coming out to the Switch 2. I'm sure it will be on the Switch 2, but I wish it was a Switch 2 release game. But anyway, that's a different conversation for a different time. But let us know down in the comments below what you think. Other than that, thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe if you're not already. Help us out. Do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell notifications to stay up to date with new videos that we do all the time. We'll see you next time.
See ya.